A lot of people do not realize they are broke until payday starts feeling less like relief and more like a short pause before the next problem walks in. The paycheck hits the checking account on Friday morning, and for a few hours, everything feels okay. Then rent clears. The grocery bill jumps higher than expected. The car insurance comes out. A credit card minimum payment disappears quietly. By Monday, the same person who just got paid is checking their balance like something must be wrong. Most people think personal finance for beginners starts with learning complicated investing terms. But for many Americans, the real problem is not that they do not understand the stock market. The real problem is that their money has no system. So every dollar gets claimed by somebody else before they even decide what they want their life to look like. If you like calm, honest financial breakdowns with real examples, real numbers, and no hype, subscribe to the channel before we go deeper, because this is not about acting rich. This is about finally understanding where your money is actually going. The first rule of money management is almost uncomfortable because it sounds too simple. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at, not what you think you spend, not what you remember spending, the real numbers. That is why budgeting for beginners is not really about becoming cheap. It is about becoming aware. A budget is not a punishment. It is a flashlight. It shows you the small leaks you have learned to ignore because each one feels too tiny to matter. But tiny leaks do not stay tiny when they repeat every month. A streaming subscription here, a food delivery order there, a higher phone bill, a storage unit, a car payment that made sense at the dealership but feels heavier every Friday. None of these looks dramatic alone. Together, they build a life where working harder does not create breathing room. Here is the part most people miss. The goal is not to become perfect with money. Perfect is fragile. The goal is to build a paycheck routine so basic that even on a stressful week, your money still knows where to go before your emotions start spending it. Let me give you a simple example. Marcus is 32, lives outside Dallas, makes decent money, and still feels embarrassed every time his card gets declined at a gas pump. Not because he is lazy, not because he does not care. He works overtime, pays his bills, and tells himself every month that next month will be different. Then his sister asks him one question that annoys him at first. She does not ask how much he makes. She asks what happens to his first $1,000 after payday. Marcus opens his banking app, scrolls through the last 2 weeks, and sees the truth sitting there in little pieces. Fast food. Random Amazon orders, 2 subscriptions he forgot about, a credit card payment that barely touched the balance. And suddenly, the problem has a shape. Marcus does something that most people avoid because it feels too honest. He writes down every fixed bill first: rent, insurance, phone, minimum debt payments, student loans. Then he writes down what is flexible: food, convenience, shopping, nights out, the stuff that never feels like the problem until it becomes the pattern. The first number surprises him. He is not broke because of one giant mistake. He is tired because his money is being pulled in 10 directions before he has even had one calm conversation with himself. His car payment is not insane by itself. His credit card balance is not impossible by itself. His subscriptions are not expensive by themselves. But together, they create a monthly life that leaves no margin. And without margin, even a normal problem starts feeling personal. 2 weeks later, Marcus gets a flat tire on the way to work. The repair is only $180. Not a disaster. But when your checking account is already thin, a small bill does not feel small. It feels like proof that you cannot get ahead. This is where people usually blame income. And yes, income matters. A low income makes everything harder. But earning more without learning how to manage money can just make the leaks bigger. The paycheck grows, but so do the payments, the habits, and the excuses. The mistake is thinking budgeting means saying no to everything. A better budget tells the truth first. It shows which expenses protect your life, which expenses make life easier, and which expenses are just emotional spending wearing a normal receipt. The part Marcus had been ignoring was timing. His bills did not arrive in one clean pile. They hit randomly across the month. So every paycheck felt like a surprise attack. Once he built a payday routine, the same income started feeling less chaotic because every dollar had a job before the weekend began. That sounds small until you live it. When money has no order, your brain stays in reaction mode. You check your balance before buying groceries. You feel guilty after eating out. You avoid opening credit card apps. A simple financial education does not remove every problem, but it removes some of the fog. Comment checklist below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave a free checklist there so you can spot which hidden financial traps might be quietly draining your cash flow before you even notice them. Now, the deeper problem is that most people do not lose control of money all at once. They lose it quietly through normal decisions that feel reasonable in the moment. The first trap is housing. Rent or a mortgage is usually the biggest number, so people treat it like it is untouchable. But if housing eats too much of your paycheck, every other decision becomes smaller, tighter, and more emotional. This does not mean everyone can simply move somewhere cheaper. That advice sounds clean until you remember jobs, kids, schools, family safety, and lease agreements. But it does mean housing has to be seen clearly, because an apartment that looks affordable on signing day can become a financial cage when utilities, parking, commuting, and repairs enter the picture. The second trap is the car payment. A car can feel like transportation when you sign the papers, but later it can start acting like a second rent payment with wheels. Payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, registration, interest. The monthly number the dealer showed you is rarely the full number your life actually pays. The third trap is credit card debt, and this one is cruel because it often starts as survival, groceries during a tight week, a tire, a medical bill, a trip you said you deserved because you were burned out. Then interest turns yesterday's stress into next month's smaller paycheck. This is why credit repair sounds attractive, but credit score explained properly begins with behavior and cash flow. A higher score can help, but it cannot rescue a person who keeps needing debt to make normal life feel possible. The fourth trap is eating out and convenience spending. Nobody wants to hear that coffee, takeout, and delivery apps matter, because it sounds like someone is blaming regular people for a broken economy. But the honest version is this: small spending is not the whole problem, but it can be the part you can actually control this week. The fifth trap is lifestyle inflation. This is when your income goes up, but your life immediately absorbs the raise. A better apartment, a nicer car, more subscriptions, better restaurants. You feel like you are finally catching up, but your future never gets paid because your present learned how to spend first. Here is the psychological trap. Most people already know at least one thing they should change. They know which app gets too much money. They know which card they avoid looking at. They know which purchase was about stress, not need. But knowing is not the same as doing, because money decisions happen inside real emotions. Survival mode makes people chase relief. Decision fatigue makes them choose whatever is easiest. Social comparison makes a normal life feel embarrassing. And shame makes people avoid the exact numbers that could help them breathe. Marcus did not keep overspending because he was stupid. He kept overspending because every purchase gave him a tiny moment where life felt less heavy. That is the part budgets usually miss. People are not only managing dollars, they are managing pressure. This is why a money plan that ignores emotion usually fails. It tells people to stop spending, but it never asks what the spending was trying to soothe. It tells people to invest, but it never asks why keeping money in the account feels unsafe, unfamiliar, or almost temporary. Some people grew up watching money disappear the moment it arrived. So when they finally earn their own paycheck, saving can feel strange, almost like the money is not allowed to sit still. They spend fast because deep down, fast money feels normal. Others avoid investing because the word itself sounds like a room they were never invited into. Stocks, index funds, retirement accounts, compound interest. It all sounds official. So they wait until they understand everything, and waiting becomes its own financial habit. Think about cash flow like water moving through an old house. You can keep turning the faucet higher, but if the pipes are cracked behind the wall, more water does not mean more comfort. It just means the damage spreads faster. A budget is not the fancy kitchen. It is the plumber walking through with a flashlight, pointing at the places where pressure has been escaping. It may not feel exciting, but it explains why the house never stays warm. Credit card debt is like carrying furniture through every room you enter. You can still move, you can still work, you can still smile in public, but every decision gets heavier because part of yesterday is sitting on your back. Saving is the first quiet repair. Investing is the machine you build after the floor stops shaking. And saving versus investing only makes sense when you stop treating them like enemies. Savings protects your month. Investing protects your future. Quiet wealth does not usually announce itself. It looks boring from the outside. A paid-off card, a small emergency fund, a simple automatic transfer, a person who does not panic when the car makes a weird noise because they finally built a little breathing room. Comment start below if you want a simple way to audit your own financial life. I'll put the checklist in the pinned comment, along with the private community details for deeper money breakdowns without hype. The first practical step is to audit one full month without judging yourself. Pull the bank statement, the credit card statement, and every automatic payment. Do not start by promising to change. Start by telling the truth. Step 2 is to separate needs, wants, and pressure spending. Needs keep your life stable. Wants can be fine when they fit inside the plan. Pressure spending is different. That is the money you spend because you are tired, embarrassed, lonely, bored, or trying to feel caught up for one evening. Step 3 is to build a small emergency buffer before trying to optimize everything. Even $500 can change the way a problem feels. A flat tire becomes annoying instead of humiliating. A surprise bill becomes something you handle instead of something you hide from. Step 4 is to attack recurring leaks. Cancel what you do not use. Renegotiate what you can. Put due dates on a calendar. A forgotten subscription is not just a small charge. It is proof that your money is voting for something you no longer chose. Step 5 is to give saving and investing different jobs. Savings is for short-term protection. Investing is for long-term growth. Do not invest the rent money. Do not keep every future dollar trapped in checking because the market scares you. Simple index funds, low fees, and automatic transfers can make investing less dramatic than people imagine. Step 6 is to review your money when you are calm, not when you are already ashamed. 10 minutes once a week can save you from 3 hours of panic later. Look at the numbers before they turn into a feeling. The big reveal is this. Personal finance is not really about becoming the kind of person who never wants anything. It is about becoming the kind of person who can want something without letting that want take control of the whole month. Money gets easier when your paycheck stops being a rescue mission and starts becoming a plan. So look at your own life for a second. Where does your money disappear before you notice it? Which bill do you avoid opening? Which purchase keeps pretending to be small? Which decision have you delayed because the truth feels heavier than the confusion? Comment checklist below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the free checklist there, along with the community details, so you can start auditing your cash flow without guessing where to begin. You do not need a perfect financial life to change direction. You just need one honest look, one cleaner paycheck routine, and enough courage to stop letting yesterday quietly spend tomorrow.